You should have the Watt tutorial, like lesson 3, like PDF open. And then you should also have in Illustrator the actual warp align transparency transform.ai file. Those are both in Classroom. But basically what we're going to do is use the things that are in the object transform menu to do these different tasks like move, rotate, reflect, scale, shear, group, etc. Before we get rolling with that, I just want to kind of show you a couple of those things in that transform menu, object transform, and that way you can kind of get a feel for how this all works, or like why you would use these things. So I'm making a new artboard. You don't have to do this. I just want to show you. But let's just say I have, I'll just do a rectangle there. I'll make it red. And then I'll make a circle here. And I'll make it blue. Question. Oh, my bad. Boom. Thank you. There you go. So now I'm broadcasting. So I just made an artboard and threw these shapes on here really quick because I'm going to use the object transform stuff on this. So if you go to object transform, you'll see there are things like move, rotate, reflect, scale, shear. Now moving is kind of counterproductive unless you want precision. And that's why that's in there. So object transform move actually allows you to type exactly how many inches you want to move something from its current position, or to a specific position, or from in a certain distance from your current position at whatever angle you want it to be moved to. So if I wanted to move this 4 inches 320 degrees away, you can hit preview and see where that's going to be. It's going to be over here. So it's moving at 5 inches from here in that direction. So that's how that works. And you can click OK to make it move like that, or you can click copy and it'll make a copy there. So that's basically what that did. Let me click a different thing. Object transform rotate does what it sounds like. It rotates. So you can actually make it rotate a little bit. If you do copy, then it's going to make a copy of it at that angle. Otherwise, it's going to do it's just going to rotate it. Another cool thing with this is once you've rotated once you've done one of these transforms once, if you press Control D on your keyboard, it duplicates that last thing you did and just repeats the steps over and over again. So you can create these kind of cool like spirograph kind of effects using Control D on your keyboard. I'm going to back up just a few steps here. And I'm going to show you guys the next thing. Object, transform, reflect. So in order for this to really work, I'm going to have to do something to make it so you can see it, that it's reflecting. So I'm going to move a point here. I'll just move this, make it kind of a boomerang. And so if I go object, transform, reflect, it's either going to reflect vertically, horizontally, and I can still do a copy of it like that. So you can kind of see how that works. And then object, transform, scale is going to allow you to resize it by 1%. Or you could do non-uniform where you resize it 1%, whatever percent wide and whatever percent tall. It could be like 150% wide for horizontal and then 100% vertical. And again, you could scale corners, you could scale strokes and effects as well. But if you hit copy, it'll make a copy of it. I can do Control D and it just repeats it. Makes copies of it. So that's that one. Object, transform, scale. And then shear is going to allow you to shear your object that you're transforming. So I can do a horizontal or vertical axis shear. And again, I can copy, I can repeat. Crazy things happen when you use that Control D on your keyboard. But that's the basics of it. Now, here's the best tool, though, out of the transforms. That's Transform Each. And the reason it's the best is it has all those things that I just went over as far as scale, move, and rotate. And then you can also do things with scaling, corners, strokes, and all that, and reflect it. So I can do, I'm going to just make a cool shape really quick of some sort and show you all this, the glory of all this. I'll just make this kind of like a weird, like Star Trek-y looking thing. I don't know. All right, and I'm going to make this corner, whoops, I got to use that tool instead. Make that corner pointy. And I don't know, maybe I'll make it somewhat transparent. Yes, I got to take it out of isolation mode. Somewhat transparent. Make it 15% transparent. And now if I go to Object, Transform Each, I can hit Preview. And I can see, okay, I want to make it so it gets wider, but then then it gets shorter. And then I want to move it just slightly, both vertically and horizontally. I want to make it rotate a little bit. And that's it. So I'm going to hit Copy. Now if I do Control D, you can start to create some pretty crazy patterns. So like I said, it's kind of like that spirograph thing. And if I did an outline, or if I did a stroke on this, it might even look even more interesting. Now if you want to do something that's a little bit more like perfectly geometrical, you could like create some pretty interesting things with that as well. Yeah, I'll make a stroke on that. So now if I do Control D, so you can kind of see where it goes. You can kind of do some really cosmic things with it. Anyways, those are all the tools that we're using for what we're doing up here. So task number 1 asks you guys to move the square. Now it says horizontal, vertical 1 inch, and then distance 2 inches, angle negative 45 degrees. The problem with this is the person who made it didn't understand that you either do this or that. You don't have to do all 4 of those things. So what we're going to do is just do a distance of 2 inches and an angle of negative 45. So what you do is you click on the box there and go Object, Transform, Move. And when you go Move, we're doing, what was it? Negative 45. And then we're making a distance of 2. And what that should do is put the center point of that box directly on that red point there. So when you click OK, boom, you've revealed a smiley face. Alright? So that's basically how you do these. The rest of these work fine. You don't have to like they are exactly what they say they are. So for rotate, you're going to select the star. You're going to go Object, Transform, Rotate. So we go to the star, Object, Transform, Rotate, and then put in the settings it says, which are, we want to make sure the preview box is checked. We want to do 45. So 45, preview box, and then what does it say next? It says click the copy button. So we hit the copy button, and you can see there's the star copied on top of itself. And then it says select a new star. So we're selecting that, and then we go Object, Transform, Rotate again, because that's what we're doing next. And this time they want 90. So then you just type in 90 instead. Click OK. Whoops. Sorry, I forgot to do copy. Object, Transform, Rotate. 90, copy, And then it says separate the three. So then you separate it, and this is a review from the gradients. Do a custom gradient on each. So you just click the gradient thing and then change some colors around, and that should be good enough. I'll do red. There you go. Or I could do the swatches. I don't mind if you use the swatch gradients. So I could do one of these things on there. Just have 3 different gradients. And then reflect and so on. Reflect's going to complete the heart. Scale's going to do something. I'm not going to spoil it all for you. I'm sure you can figure out what Pathfinder is going to do. In fact, Pathfinder's kind of fun. There's actually a Pathfinder assignment I'm going to have you guys do, I believe either next class or the class after, depending on what lesson it is. But once you get past the group and ungroup and that stuff, we're going to be back into like warp territory, and then you'll be dealing with aligning and Pathfinder. Pathfinder is something that you will use a lot. It's a way you can make complex shapes and all kinds of stuff. Any questions? All right, so I'll come around and see how you guys are doing, pay you some Jeter bucks if I see you hard at work. And